Up next is someone who is spearheading AI pilot technology and drone warfare. Please welcome to the stage Shield AI co-founder and CEO Ryan Tseng. What's up, Matt? Thanks for joining us tonight.
Of course.
So like everyone else, I think we have a hype video to play. I would love for it to be a nice icebreaker. Give us what you're seeing, what you're thinking about. I believe it's VBAT in all sorts of places. Let's run that.
Hype videos.
Yes.
Important. So what you see here is a Group 3 aircraft that Shield AI makes. We call it the VBAT. It can take off and land vertically. It can fly hundreds of nautical miles. It can provide targeting in GPS and comms contested environments. And we think it's the future of long-range reconnaissance and targeting missions. There's a lot of talk about intelligent affordable mass, and that comes up a lot in the context of weapons. When we go around the world, though, we hear a lot of, we have all the weapons we need, we don't have the ability to hit the targets. And if you look at the Ukraine war, they have been producing insane numbers of munitions, but that line has not been moving, and the fundamental problem is we're unable to effectively strike strategic targets. And so when we think about making those fires effective, we have to think about closing kill chains. Reconnaissance aircraft are a critical component of that, and so the VBAT that you saw there, we think is going to be one of the major replacements for the legacy Group 5 long-range targeting systems. Like many of the platforms that are out there today. You also saw there some of the work that we do on AI pilots. Shield AI was founded to build AI pilots. We think it's one of the most important conventional deterrents in the world. We have applied that AI pilot to the VBAT, which is what allows it to do reconnaissance and targeting missions in the most difficult environments on the planet. I think it's the only aircraft in the world that's been able to penetrate deep into Russia over some of the most sophisticated electronic defenses while providing navigation and targeting solutions. And so we pretty famously flew around Secretary Kendall in an F-16 earlier this year, so that was a pretty cool thing to see.
So that was a perfect primer. I think you hit on everything I want to ask about. Let's dig into VBAT. Shield yesterday announced a major partnership with India, with JSW Group, I think a $90 million investment, something like that. You're planning to build and test VBAT en masse over there. Two things. First, I'll go, why India?
Yeah, great question. I mean, India is one of the largest defense markets on the planet. It's been named a major strategic partner of the United States from a defense perspective. It's in a very strategic location close to China. And when you think about it as a great opportunity to deliver an important capability, you've got countries that are building up their defense capability, they're modernizing it, but they don't have the legacy investments that you have in the United States, where there are these big sustaining and expenses, and this opportunity to build things from the ground up in a way that I think makes the most sense. And so when they're thinking about their long-range reconnaissance and targeting capabilities, something like the VBAT, which is about 1/40th to 1/100th the cost of the very large systems that provides 90% of the capability, is something that made a lot of sense for them. We're very excited about the joint development capabilities there. I think if you were to clean sheet, a partnership, starting today, and you want to leverage some of the best talent in the world for people that think the same way, I think India is a very natural partner. A strong and growing economy, a deep bench of engineering and software talent, and so we're very excited to work together with our partner in the region, JSW, which is one of the largest conglomerates in India.
And then the kind of like foreign policy follow-up there is, what does this mean for the very precarious and I'd say precious relationship between the U.S. and India? I mean, it's China's neighbor, effectively.
I mean, I think that they can be one of our strongest and most effective partners in the region, and certainly you've heard discussion about it. We're excited to be collaborating from an industrial perspective because, look, I think that we will be able to build better capabilities jointly. They have an intent to move fast. They help provide economies of scale for a lot of the work that we're doing. And we're just hoping to put some wins on the board that hopefully creates momentum for other partnerships and opportunities to strengthen the alliance and improve security in the region.
Are you eyeing any other countries? Or would you like to be in other countries?
We do work around the world with U.S. allies. I mean, I think that if you look at the problems in the Pacific, they're very similar to the problems in Ukraine. And like I said, like the drumbeat around the world, plenty of weapons, no ability to do targeting. And when you think about deterrence, you need the other side to believe that those weapons are actually going to hit them. And when they don't believe that those weapons are actually going to hit them, you're not really achieving much of a deterrent effect. And we have, I think, catastrophically too little targeting capability in the United States and allies around the world. Certainly we have some very high-end capabilities, but when you think about doing it at scale, it's a very hard problem. It's going to require a reimagination of the way that we do it. It's going to require many more aircraft, many more systems that are capable of operating in contested environments to provide the reconnaissance and targeting information that makes all of the munitions effective. Do
you ever imagine SHIELD moving into the weapons and strike arena, or are you good with sticking with ISR?
Look, I think we've done some really compelling work to integrate VBAT with weapon systems. One of the things that people don't appreciate, there's a lot of talk about intelligent affordable mass. Lockheed Martin famously makes a system called the HIMARS with rockets in it. And this thing flies almost 100 nautical miles at Mach 3.5, carries a 200-pound warhead. The larger versions carry a 1,000-pound warhead and can go a couple hundred miles. It costs $180,000. That's cheaper than a lot of the loitering munitions that are available on the market. And so, when we think about going back to the way that we look at the world and some of the fundamental problems, this is an insanely capable weapon system. It just needs to be able to target things to be effective.
Be augmented with something.
And I think that's where there's a lot of opportunity. But of course, the AI pilot work that we do applies not just to VBATs, it applies to kind of a full spec, like tactical aircraft, like I think you saw in that video, jet drones, and also munitions. So there's a tremendous opportunity to make those things more effective, not just by providing targeting solutions, but by making them capable of their own terminal guidance, and that's something that we also do work on as well.
So there's been a good bit of reporting about VBAT success in Ukraine. Like you said, just an insane amount of jamming and spoofing. The Wall Street Journal called it a rare victory in relation to what you guys are doing over there. Walk us through what you're seeing on those front lines, what you're hearing from those soldiers, and especially considering this explosion, no pun intended, of counter-drone weaponry.
Yeah, look, I mean, what we're hearing is that nearly every system they try is ineffective. And there's a lot of disenchantment with some of the US weapon systems that have been delivered because they haven't been able to be effective in these electronically contested environments. The work that we did over there that I think they found so compelling was we did an end-to-end mission where we took off with no GPS. We conducted a 6-hour mission, or not we, I should say, the VBAT was
in Ukrainian hands.
In Ukrainian hands was capable of conducting this mission. And not only was it capable of navigating without GPS, it was able to provide targetable coordinates pretty deep into Russian territory. And so it's a very difficult and dynamic environment, and SHIELD AI's history has been focused on solving this problem pretty early. Started the company with my brother, who's a Navy SEAL, wanted to be a movie producer, which is why we have great highlight reels. Or sorry, movie director, I should say.
Does he have a hand in those? Is he like?
He does. He loves that stuff.
Okay. So he's cutting he's doing transitions. He's doing everything.
He's obsessed with it. But the first problem that we strove to solve was reducing risk in building clearance operations. And so the first product that SHIELD AI ever built was an autonomous quadcopter that can go into buildings and search for threats. And that kind of necessitated solving the GPS-denied navigation problem in difficult, dynamic, dusty environments. And we were able to basically take that capability and bring it to larger aircraft.
You mentioned quadcopter, so that's a good segue. You want HiveMind, the digital pilot, for all intents and purposes, to fly on anything and everything. You guys have said
That's
that.
Right.
That's involved quadcopters, F-16s, a Firejet, something else made by Kratos, I believe. What aircraft are next, and what does working with everyone actually look like in real life? I imagine it's not that as romantic as that sounds, right?
Yeah. I can't talk about what aircraft are next, but I can tell you that, yes, we have the aspiration to ensure that every system that the US and allies have that matters has an AI pilot on it. The mission of SHIELD AI is to protect service members and civilians. The way that we accomplish that at scale is through deterrence. And so we sort of work backwards from the problem. How do you deter, right, war? And I think the most powerful conventional deterrent of the next 50 years is going to be AI pilots. And so we spent the first 10 years focused on the mission of this mission, but doing it by striving to build the world's best AI pilot. And when we think about our next 10 years, what we're very excited to do is to enable like every company, every ally to build the world's best AI pilot for their platforms and for their missions. And so we want to enable the industry, we want to enable the ecosystem to produce their own AI pilots, because I think that's the only way that we will build enough AI pilots and get them deployed fast enough that it will have a meaningful impact on global security.
So your brother has said he could foresee a single person command and controlling 1 million drones. Was that hyperbole? And how, if not, I mean, how soon could that become reality?
You know, I think that's a good bit in the future.
But it's possible.
But I think it's possible. You can look at what's happening in China with their light shows, and I forgot what the numbers are, but it's staggering numbers of drones up in the air under the command and control, probably of nobody, because they just pushed a button, and it, you know, stunning maneuver. And so I don't think it's hyperbole. I think that it's imminently achievable. There's just a lot of things that would have to be worked out to get there, and certainly what China is able to muster for their light shows, I think, is indicative of what they can probably also do on the defense side. I don't think there's too much money in light shows, and still they can get 50,000 drones up in the air.
You mentioned Secretary Frank Kendall in the X-62A Vista.
Yes.
I think I got that right. What did you learn from that flight, that testing, or alternatively, what do you think that stunt proved to the world?
I think that it showed that autonomy is much further along than people think, or we're giving it credit for a long time. And there's a lot happening below the waterline, a tremendous amount of progress, and a lot of it is less visible. And I think what you're going to start to see are breakout moments where there's just been tremendous development, and all of a sudden people have these aha moments. And look, when we said that we were going to fly an F-16 in 2022, I don't think anybody believed us. And so I was just very glad to see the Secretary put his trust in the AI, right? I mean, he's literally, with his life, trusting the test pilot, of course, who was also in there, and the AI pilot, to make sure that everything went well. And so probably the biggest thing that I learned was just, it was good to see the commitment of the department from the senior-most level to say, hey, this is real, we need to get behind it, and I'm going to show that by getting in the airplane.
So one last parting question here. When we met up a few days ago, you said you were on a fitness kick. You can definitely bench more than me, there's no doubt about that. But who can bench more, you or Brandon?
Oh, man.
And would he disagree with your answer?
I can't believe you're making me say this.
Go on.
No, I'm nowhere close.
No, oh, okay.
No,
I know what I'm writing about tomorrow.
He's my younger brother, and he's a Navy SEAL, so I like to think it's okay. But
that's fair.
It's still tough for me.
We're going to have to leave the okay. I thought you might have a zinger.
No, he's just stronger.
Okay, fair. We're going to have to leave the conversation there. Ryan, thank you so much for your insights. Everyone, please make sure to go upstairs after the program. They have a booth up there. We have some more footage up there, and you can learn more about the company. But for now, stick with us for our next guest. And Ryan, thank you again.
Thank you.